Oh,
Here it comes. Oh, I think YouTube is picking us up.
all right. Pat, are we live? Is that that we're supposed to
I
say?
think we're supposed to say we're live. I
Oh,
see us moving over there.
yeah, I can see us in the screen. That's going to be super distracting. You know, as we get more and more Oh, okay. Yeah. So you can hear me now, Pat, right?
I can hear you for sure, and I turned my
Okay.
volume down a little to match, so we
Yeah,
should
great.
be close.
Well, I had the volume up on YouTube, and it was like super distracting. So once we get some more once we get to like the super Patreon level, then we'll probably have a producer, and I can just say, like, oh, Mr. Call Screener, can you tell me how our stream's going?
Yeah,
But
we'll have somebody in charge of that someday,
yeah,
maybe.
speaking of that, I guess we should go ahead and start the show then, right? Right, Pat?
I think so. I think it's a good plan, Jeremy.
All right. Welcome to Creativity, the podcast where art and engineering collide. I'm your host, Jeremy Cook, along with Pat Regan, who's here today. How are you doing, Pat?
I'm doing all right. That's me.
Yeah, and Creativity podcast where art and engineering collide. We discuss everything from art to engineering to life in general and just whatever we come up with. Our as you notice, we don't have a guest today. Actually, we might have a few people that are scheduled to stop by, which is really exciting. But the guests today are actually, in fact, you. You could be the guest. The link's up on YouTube, correct, Pat?
This is true. It should be. I looked, and it looks like it's there.
Okay,
But
so yeah,
if you click that link, you will hop into our little app here that does its live streaming for us, and I'll see you in the waiting room here, and we'll
I'll
figure out what
see
to do from there.
I'll see you in the waiting room. Is that a threat, Pat?
It's a threat. I will see you in the waiting room.
Yeah, for better or worse, I guess. So yeah, I
Yes,
guess Pat will monitor that, and maybe I can see it too. I don't even know. It's the first time we've actually done this. So
it's true. This
or
is
no,
all
it's not,
new to us.
first time we've done it using Riverside.fm, which we're not sponsored by them. I suppose if every podcast that wanted to, you know, wanted free stuff, that they wouldn't make any profit, right? So
It's true. You can't. Not everybody can get free stuff, free
yeah,
podcasting stuff. It just wouldn't work.
exactly. So yeah, I mean today, I guess one of our subjects though we were going to talk about selling on Tindy, and for me especially just trying to keep stuff in stock. That's been a real challenge for me. I think we're going to talk about maybe, let's see. Oh, you got a drone race down. Let's see.
I do. That
May-
was kind of neat.
Yeah, drone race. Maybe talk about some of the cameras and mics we use, and yeah, who knows? I mean, if you want to call in, you got to, if you want to talk about lasers or whatever else, we will accommodate you.
It's true.
Um, yeah. So Pat, one thing, how long have you been selling on Tindy? And Tindy, for those that don't know, you want to explain what Tindy is, Pat? Or
Oh
maybe
boy,
I.
I'll tell you, I did a good job doing. I thought I did a good job researching my past on Tindy, but I don't know when I actually started. But our friend Jasmine from Tindy is in the waiting room right now.
Oh,
Should I?
well, she's the perfect person to explain Tindy because she is actually I guess, the head person at Tindy, right?
Is that true?
As she's she's the one that tells me what to do there. I've actually written for their blog for quite a while, so so
So
if she's not,
Jeremy's boss is in the waiting room. We should
Jeremy's
probably
boss
let
is the
her in.
waiting room. We should let her in, absolutely. Uh, well, Jasmine's the black screen right now, but we can. Oh,
Oh, here she
there she
comes.
is.
Hi,
Awesome.
Jasmine.
Hello.
Because she is actually I guess, the head person at Tindy, right? So
Is that true?
she's she's the one that tells me what to do there. I've actually written for their blog for quite a while.
Yeah.
Uh
So,
oh. Jeremy's
um,
boss.
I heard
We're getting
you.
some YouTube feedback from somewhere.
Jasmine, you should
Oh,
probably
that might be
probably
me.
go ahead and close out the YouTube window if you
Yeah.
would.
I'm relieved. I thought I did it. I've been looking around for where I left a YouTube window because I've done
No,
that
no, it was
before.
me.
Yeah. Well, Jasmine, it's great to see you. I've we've met in person, but it's been
A
quite
little
some
while.
time for obvious reasons these days. So
Yeah, it's
um,
nice to see both of you.
yeah.
Um, but I was just trying to look up to see when Pat was started on Tindy, actually.
Oh, I was curious too.
It
And I
should
thought
say
I did
more
this research too because I
sold,
checked how much I've sold and stuff, but I didn't check dates. I'm not that smart.
but, Yeah,
Jasmine knows how to. I assume she knows just about. If anybody knows it, it would be Jasmine. I would
there's
assume.
probably more stuff that I've forgotten about it than I know now. It's been great to see Tindy grow.
Absolutely. So
Tindy is so awesome.
so before we get into it, Jasmine, what is Tindy? We were kind of asking that question. You
It's very much what it started out to be is a marketplace where people can buy and sell electronics. Generally, it's for people that are creating things, and a lot of our sellers are people that have created electronics that they want to use to solve a problem. And then other people have also realized that this is a useful tool as well. But it tends to be very small batch electronics.
right?
Yep.
And the Tindy, I guess that's like what's it? Indie Electronics, right? I know
Yeah.
you've explained this to me before, but
I think that's where the original people that set it up. I think that's where it came from.
okay, yeah. And Tindy, Tindy is a dog, correct? That's the
It
mascot,
is a
right?
dog, and I got a dog recently, and she's decided to go nuts. Come
Uh
here,
oh.
come here. No, she's not playing well, I see. But
She doesn't
Well-
want to be our friend.
Well, do you still when we were Jasmine and I were at Maker Faire many not many years ago, but a couple years ago, and you actually had a blow up Tindy dog, right? Do you still have that
Yeah.
around somewhere?
that's still in the office. So yeah, it's been on a few excursions before COVID happened, and it's definitely been got up to some adventures at various like electronics after parties and things like that.
Oh, sure. Well, I hear it was fairly expensive to make for what it is. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
it
maybe
was a bit of a folly,
it was-
but we've definitely got a repair kit for it.
yeah, but I mean that's okay. You put it on the Tindy jet with you guys, and when you fly to different areas, right?
When we fly first class.
First class.
When
Oh,
it will-
you go commercial now. That's kind of a cut for you.
yeah.
But yes, so anyway, you were saying, did you figure out how long Pat has been a seller on Tindy? Oh, look at that. Is that Tindy? Did you
That's the
name what is
rascal that's trying to bite my toes right now.
I have to look around my
this
mic
is
to
at
find
Pat's.
out.
It says Pat has had 155 orders since February the 11th, 2016. Does that sound right?
2016. Oh my goodness. I totally believe that.
wow.
I absolutely believe that.
And what do you sell, Pat? Exactly.
Well, I sell. Oh, I have a prop for something else, and it's one of the things that I sell. And I tell everybody not to buy these. I can't get this component off of it though. Here, I sell these breadboard vices. They're little spring-loaded. You can put like an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi in each of these arms here. So you don't. We used to have trouble where you'd put a breadboard down, you'd put some. Hey, that's my store. Look at that. Yeah, you used to have
Nice.
trouble. You'd put an Arduino down, and all the DuPont cables would just. You try to pick your project up and move it, and it wants to just
Yeah.
dance around. And
Yeah,
this was.
It's amazing how great Arduinos are, but then it's like you've got all these wires going everywhere, and it's like it's great up to a point, but then at some point it's like what's going on here? So
It's true.
so your product actually makes everything all in one and all portable and such, I guess.
Yep,
Is that-
but nobody buys these. Everybody buys. There's a thing that I have made out of their little carbon. It's the simplest thing. It's just two brackets with a piece of carbon fiber for a particular server chassis for a not a rack mount server, but a little NAS build, like
Okay.
a little case that holds 8 drives, and they sell. I sell a few of those almost every month.
Well, I
these
mean, who doesn't like
pairs.
carbon fiber? I think that's kind of
Oh, it's delicious.
I think that's something that very few people in the engineering or electronic space wouldn't think is just awesome.
It is. It's way overkill for what it is, but it sounds cool, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've
The differentiating aspect.
what's that?
selling point.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yep. But I used to sell a lot of them when they were 3D printed. But boy, it takes a long time to 3D print one. I could cut them on the CNC out of carbon fiber in a few minutes. But
yeah.
it was a 2.5, 3 hour print job to print two
Well,
orders.
and now thanks to Shiboko, your lungs are feeling a little bit better after.
They are. They were nice
this.
enough to send me the new dust boot so that I can stop inhaling carbon fiber dust. I shouldn't be doing that. It's very toxic.
Very toxic, or it makes you scratchy, I guess. Yeah. So.
Oh, there she is.
Whoa.
What's her name, Jasmine?
This is Kuro. She's about 8 months old, and there's some intense ear licking that she enjoys doing
Oh,
every
fantastic.
so often.
What a cute puppy. What kind of dog is it?
She's some kind of like terrier, chihuahua. She's not going to get much bigger, so
a puppy.
Yeah,
Nice.
but she's going to stay that way forever.
We thought ours is part beagle, and we thought she'd stay pretty small, but she's about 60 pounds now. So
Wow.
she's part Pyrenees as well, and part another dog that we don't really tell the neighbors about. So
now I have to know. But
well, her mom looked like a pit bull. I'll just say that. We really don't know, but you know how people are about that. They're
one of my friends has a dog that's a pit bull chihuahua mix. She's the sweetest thing, and they did a DNA test to find this out. She's 18% chihuahua according to the test, but she's real broad, real wide, but very short. She has the tiniest legs. It's adorable.
That's great. Yeah. So one thing, Jasmine, with just thinking about like I've written for your blog for many years, and it's been great. I love being able to just, it's great. You surf people's stuff that they're selling, and you get to write about it. I guess the only bad thing about it is that I always feel like buying it, and that would really cut into my profit margins with you guys.
Definitely.
But all that being said, I started selling some more of my stuff more recently, and it's a little tiny thing. I call it a Easy Fan 2. It's like a fan control board for Raspberry Pis or really anything else. You can use it for any sort of load, but that's kind of the design. Lets you turn on the fans and off the fans. But the thing is, it's gotten like somewhat popular, and I found that it's kind of hard to figure out a balance between ordering, say like 1,000 of these or just running out of stock. I wonder if you had any advice about that, Jasmine.
Well, it definitely depends on, it depends on the different products and also the cost and the units and your margins, essentially. There are, in the US, there are definitely places where you can get them produced, but they'll end up being much more expensive. And also it depends on like how much, when people start out, quite often they're hand soldering things or assembling a few parts themselves. And obviously when they scale up, they don't really want to do that. So they can choose whether they want to do kits or whether they want to outsource the assembly. But in terms of, it does depend on how much you want to start shipping things and how much your margins are and whether it's worth that to you. It's one of the main things.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess it's an interesting learning experience. I think I started doing this, and I started with one that was through-hole components, did a few of those, started selling them, and then I thought I could make one even smaller with surface mount components, and that was pretty cool. And then at some point, as you said, I decided I didn't really like soldering everyone up when they order, and the profit margins were okay, but not enough, not enough to really justify me being in the garage all day or whatever. So I ordered 20 of these from China and got here great, and all of a sudden I sell out like really fast, and now I'm waiting on 50 more. And I guess the fear always is, you ordered that big package of parts, and then it's like nobody's going to buy it at that point. I guess that's the fear. But
this is what I think every time I order a few more sheets of carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, There is a thing with Tindy that people can sign up to a wait list, but as the longer you leave it, the more the wait list will go stale.
Yep.
And so
Hmm.
if you're only waiting, if you're out of stock for a few weeks, then that's fine. You'll probably still get quite a high percentage of uptake when the email goes out to say that it's back in stock. But if you leave it we've had sellers who've left it for like 2 years, and then they're like, I had 150 people on this list, and only one person's bought it. So it's like, well, it's been a little while now. They might have either moved on to a different project or found something else that would
Yep.
fix
Oh,
the
sure.
problem. So
That's 150, really. That's pretty amazing.
well, we're trying to go through and make it so that after a certain period of time, that out of stock products will kind of remind the sellers to say, are you definitely getting more stock in this? Can you let us know when you're going to get stock? So that also, because it's frustrating for customers as well.
Yeah.
No, it's frustrating for everyone. I mean, it's true though. If let's say I sell this thing for Raspberry Pi and people get on my wait list, and then 2 years later, let's just say everybody's using something else. I mean,
Yeah.
then, I imagine Raspberry Pi will be around in 2 years, but you really never know. Something else could have come along or.
And also customers end up messaging us saying, I can't remember signing up for this email. That's the other thing that happens.
Yeah.
Spamming me. So
Well, one thing, I guess, I didn't necessarily want to. I don't want to say put you. I guess I did put you on the spot a little bit, but in case you want some more input, I talked to Spencer Owen actually at RC
Oh, yeah.
2014. Is he the highest grossing Tindy seller? He's pretty high up there, right? Or
he's in the top 5.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's none of anybody else's business. I don't know, but he does well enough that it's his full-time job. And so I asked him about that. Asked him kind of about this problem of keeping stuff in stock, whatever. And he actually did a pretty nice reply back to me. He said that aside from PCBs, very few of my components. Oh, there you go. I can even put it on.
Yep.
Very few of his components have a single use. So even if one product isn't selling high volumes, most of the components will be used in other products. For those parts, I'll typically order lots of, which takes away the anxiety of getting hold of more and works out cheaper with volume discounts. He also says he tries to avoid designing inexpensive parts with long lead times. He doesn't mind expensive parts if he knows he can buy a few parts to start with and get some really quickly, like in a day or two. And I think that's good points, of course. He says ESPA 266 from China, for example, take about 3 to 4 weeks to get here, but he was happy to order a bunch of these to start with because worst case scenario was that I was only down a few dollars and I have a pile of ESPs for other stuff, which I think makes total sense. I mean, one thing, just thinking about this, I made the other thing I've made that hasn't quite sold as well. I call it the Grounduino, and it was something I came up with because I really, you make things with the Arduino Nano, and you always end up running out of grounds and you power pins and whatever else. It's like I really need a board to do that. I buy it, order 20, basically for my own use, put it on Tindy, and a few people have bought it, but not that many. But the thing is, if nobody ever buys it, I'll use them. So it's, I wonder how many people have that attitude. I guess that's a good attitude, probably.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of sellers where I think they're probably doing things for their own projects, but also they're doing some contract small electronics. And what they'll often do is they'll put it up on Tindy, and if their first batch sells out, then they'll reorder another batch and gauge the popularity that way. And then
Right.
the other thing that does for them is it builds up their catalog, and so there's more chance of them getting found when people do searches and that kind of thing. The other thing is that they have really good customer service. They're not necessarily the cheapest, but they really check things for quality control. And so people are prepared to buy from them because they're really reliable. And Spencer as well. It's one of the things that's wonderful about Spencer is that if we message him with a problem or a customer messages him with a problem, he kind of he does the best or fastest thing that he can do to get the right. Stop it. right a working product back into the customer's hands as soon as possible.
Right.
And so he's only able to do that because he charges a reasonable amount of money. Stop it. Sorry.
Right. No, that's true. It's obviously if you're just kind of scraping the bottom, you can't afford to. I mean, I don't say you can't afford to give good service, but if you've got a 10% profit margin and each of your products requires a bit of a hassle, then it's going to be kind of a pain. So,
Yeah, Jeremy, you need a big enough margin that when things go lost in the mail or things just don't show up, things get broken, things don't show up right, you've got to be ready to
yeah, no, I
not feel bad, not lose 4 orders worth of profit every time something goes wrong, right?
yeah, that's true.
Maybe not 4. I made that number up.
Yeah, no, I get it, and that's why you even though you've sold more than $1,000. I mean, I don't know how I don't. Anyway, you've sold a decent amount of product, Pat. But on your listing, you say you shouldn't buy this. You should print it yourself, right? That
I do.
seems like-
You should print it totally. Yeah, it's way cheaper to just print it yourself or find a friend that can 3D print it for you. I don't need to make the sale. You could. It's all the stuff I make is always open source. So I'd rather you go download it and make it. But some people don't want to. Some people are happy to pay a premium to not have to do the work, right?
That's quite the reverse psychology. Maybe that's some sort of thing. I don't know. Maybe I think I half jokingly thought, going through this thing, developing a product, selling it on Tindy, I was like, you should I should like people getting their MBA should have to open up a Tindy store and for experience.
Learn about supply and inventory control. And,
Strangely enough, we had maybe 16 products, all the same, submitted by 16. It's the same item, but made 16 different ways by 16 different people. And this happened recently, and we were like, is this like a bot, or is this some kind of? Turns out it was a class that the university or the
oh
course,
wow,
we haven't worked out which university or class it is, but the people be from, some of them from the UK, and there's some other people, so it must be kind of from other countries, so it must be kind of an online course or something.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it's incredibly educational, just because I remember, I worked in manufacturing for years and years, and I remember, them talking about, supply, well, if you order too much, then it's a real penalty there. If you don't order enough, the penalty there too, and yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I didn't really think about it because I'm trying to design machinery and get it to run and stuff like that. But then, you move to a different role, and it's just interesting on a very small scale, but you could see the challenge that people, I don't know, you just see things from a different perspective. It's just kind of nice, I guess. Hey, Pat, do we have somebody waiting?
Oh, we just did. I was waiting for you to finish your sentence, and I was going to tell you that Kenny from Cloudfree was there, but he disappeared as soon as you were saying that.
Well,
I didn't want to interrupt your sentence to let him in.
No, I understand. Well, I'll ping him.
He's
on.
coming back. Do you want to?
Oh, yeah.
Do you guys mind being on at the same time, Jasmine?
It's cool, Jasmine.
No,
cool,
I'm still dealing with a dog being very, very cool here. Sorry.
Let's see what happens. This is new to me.
Yeah. Hey, Kenny. Can you hear us?
Hi, Kenny.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Well, it's great to see you. Great to meet you. We're here with Jasmine from Tindy, and it's Pat Regan. I'm Jeremy. So it's glad you were able to make it. I understand
lovely.
you had a calc test you just got done with, right?
I had a recitation, for finals next week, so that's exciting, right?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Math class must have changed since I was in it. What do you have to do at a recitation? I'm pardon my ignorance
basically,
here.
yeah, that's all right. So you have your lectures in a massive lecture hall, and then you go to recitation once a week to ask any small questions you have and take a quiz, and kind of a refresher, a chance to get more personal questions asked.
Oh, very, very nice. And well, that's great. Where do you go to college, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no, Purdue University here in
yeah.
Indiana.
That's Great school. So you're engineering major, I guess, or computer
Yep.
science,
Computer engineering.
computer engineering. Great.
I have a friend who went to Purdue. He has
Oh, is that right?
fantastic. Yeah, he has fantastic stories about how they got. They tried to ask permission to send a. They wanted to send a weather balloon up with a rocket attached
Oh,
in
really?
his rocketry club, I guess, and they asked. I always say they asked NASA. They didn't ask NASA for permission. It's not NASA that tells you this is okay. But a few weeks later, they created a new law that said no, you can't. You can't launch a rocket from a weather balloon. They wanted to
Oh,
get up an
that's
extra
lame.
50 or 100,000 feet. I guess you could take pictures of some spy satellites or something up there. I don't know. I don't know the
Sounds
real
neat.
reason, but it's a fantastic. Else.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad if see that's why universities on the coast, you can just drive out 7 miles and you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But Kenny, now you have a really, I mean, I'm a big fan myself. Your cloud free products,
Well,
right?
thanks.
There
Yep,
you go.
there it is.
Yeah, these are fantastic. I only have a handful so far. I'm trying to buy more.
Well, a whole lot of people are. And so, I think I started looking into how I could possibly do this because I'm pretty new to the home automation game. It was probably early last year when I first started looking into Home Assistant and things of that nature. And, I'd buy some plugs off the internet and try to 2U convert them, use that process to put Tasmota on them so I don't have to deal with the 2U cloud. And I don't know, it was kind of fidgety and you'd brick a plug every once in a while. It wasn't great. And so I got to looking on how to try to do international trade or, things of that nature. And then in August, I was able to, I placed an order and had it sent to my apartment here, and I ran it out of the loft in my college apartment here for a little while. I had 1,000 of those little smart plugs up in the loft, and every day I'd throw them in the envelopes and slap the label on them and send them out.
They're adorable little
Look at that,
boxes you've got.
You got the box. That's great, Pat. You
Yeah.
need to save that. In a couple of
I
years.
did.
it'll be,
This one's empty.
Oh yeah, I guess you did. Well, that's great. How did you? So just I guess just to like step back a little bit, the home automation stuff. Basically these plugs that you get from Walmart or wherever else, they've got generally some sort of software that phones home to who knows where, and
Right,
you have to be
yeah.
connected to the internet for it to work. And what you did, there's a process called 2U convert, which works or did work. I don't think it works really anymore too well.
Yeah, hit or miss.
But either way, it's just kind of a pain really. But you're basically what you did, you flashed these IoT switches with Tasmota firmware just out of the gate. So you plug them in, log onto it, and you're good to go. You've got your automation running, no cloud needed. Your internet goes out. You can still open your door. You can still open your garage. You can still do whatever you want. Right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. So you did this, and you said this summer you somehow figured out how to source this all from China, I guess. And
Yep. So last year during the summertime, I had quite a bit of free time on my hands. They're there for a couple of weeks. I couldn't go into. I work a summer job. Couldn't go in there for a little while, and so yeah, I managed to find a supplier. And just finding a supplier in the first place was a huge undertaking, because so many of them either, Alibaba. There's AliExpress where it's more consumer oriented, and then Alibaba is more for wholesale. So you go on there and they have different smart plugs listed, but some of the companies don't make them themselves. They're just kind of a middleman, and so many of them aren't willing to flash custom firmware for you. That's kind of a special ask. So, but I was able to find one eventually and work it out that they were willing to flash firmware for me so that I could take that off my plate, because I don't want to manually flash things. That's obnoxious, especially when I can have them do it when they manufacture it in the first place.
That's why we buy the switches from you, is so we don't have to do the work to flash them.
Exactly.
Now
Yeah.
you get to push that back another step behind you.
yeah, and it's great too. Like the, I mean, yes, Pat, if you want to hold up his the switch, I
Absolutely.
mean, I mean, it's such good quality too, and it's got a nice logo on the side. How'd you
And a button.
and a button? I get that's
That's
good too.
Oh, yeah.
exciting. I can't
Yeah.
find the button. There it is.
How'd you get the logo on it and stuff? I mean, it's like a totally. I assume that's like a stock design at some level, right? Or is it? Is it all?
Yeah. So the circular plug design is just something that my supplier had already put together. You know, you can go on Amazon and find a million different of them. The logo I was able to get designed, and basically all you have to do is put it in a certain file format and send it to them, and they'll print it on there for you. Nothing too difficult.
Nice. So what? It was just basically trying to go negotiate prices and supplier with this company in China to do that, right? I guess that must have taken
Yeah.
a lot of research, and I guess you had to front some cash for all that too. I guess 1,000. If you're buying 1,000 of them, I'm sure you're
Yeah,
spending
it was
more
a
than
little bit
$1,000
a little
certain.
bit scary. I've tuned in a little earlier and heard you talk about you order things and then you're worried that somebody's not going to buy them. That was one of my biggest concerns, putting that big of an investment into a project like this, because I wasn't entirely sure where it was going to go, you know. It could have been a big money hole, but
It's
it
true.
did not turn out to be that way at all.
Yeah, no, I'm sure
Very
it's
grateful.
Yeah, and the first time you order something from a supplier in China, you have no idea what you're actually gonna pull out of that box. You-
Yeah, it's a little tough. I mean, you know, they have ratings, but that only goes so far. Uh, yeah.
And Pat, you're working on something you're possibly going to source from China at some point, right?
We are. I have one here somewhere.
right?
We're working on this electronics project here. This is these are RGB LEDs. This is sized to fit in a 5.25 inch, CD-ROM
Oh.
optical drive bay. Our new model has a third ring in the middle. We were worried this was too much juice when you lit these up, so we only did 2. But we've squeezed 3 on. It's been tough to get. My guy who's doing this, my friend, he's having a lot of trouble. He has a lot of vias that need to go in certain places, and when you put the third ring in the middle, you can't have the via where the LEDs are. He's
Oh.
done a pretty good job. Though we're almost ready to order the 3 LED
Nice,
version,
nice.
and we
how, ma-
expected. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
how many of these are you going to order initially?
Well, I ordered 10 for this first prototype batch. We didn't even know if they'd work. He's never done any of this before. And
Okay.
he wanted me to order the boards and surface mount all these components myself. And
Oh.
I don't even know how you would ever know if these 2mm LEDs, which way they're even facing. I can't imagine doing this by myself.
Yeah, that doesn't look like much fun.
But I'm happy to. I don't mind telling you the numbers. It was about $900 to get 10 boards made,
Oh, wow.
but it gets a lot cheaper when you get up to 100 boards. It'll be reasonable.
Yeah,
For
I found a project, Ottercast. I don't know if you'd heard of it. It's Chromecast Audio. I don't know if you've ever seen the little puck-sized things you can plug into speakers that they discontinued here recently. You can cast. You open your Spotify app or whatever, it can cast audio
Oh, like a Chromecast, like something
Yeah,
like
without
that.
the video.
without the video. It's just
Okay.
just audio. But Google discontinued it, and some guys online made an open source project basically that is supposed to be a similar replacement to that. And so they posted the files online, and I ordered those from a PCB manufacturer. And that's kind of handy because then they'll put all the parts on there for you, or
Yeah.
at least most of them, and then ship them. It's definitely not cheap. Is that it, right? Oh, that's the Chromecast, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what they look like, right? But that's just like the closed source version that you made or you guys.
Exactly, yeah. But they got all the files on GitHub. You drag it all into the. I use JLC PCB. That's what they recommended, and they make them all up and ship them DHL, and they're in your hands. But a couple weeks later.
Yeah, it didn't take long for us either. It was fantastic.
It is pretty amazing. I mean, I've done some stuff with PCBWay, and they do a good job. Sent me a couple weeks, whatever. But then it's like they put it in the mail. It's like 3 days later, the DHL lady in my case shows up with this box, and I'm like, what? How did
Yeah.
how did that happen? But I guess you put it on a jet, you can go wherever you want in a day or so.
Yeah, I think with different projects, different products on Tindy, different sellers have different requirements, and so depending on that is the way you choose which PCB supplier you're going to use.
Yeah.
What do you mean exactly? Like,
Well, just with sometimes people just go on pricing, but other times people need layers or they need special vias or they want assembly, and also if they needed to buy components, some PCB assembly places have different kind of sources for their.
Yep.
For their
We had to use PCB way. I forget which component on our board is not at the other choice we were going to make. I forget.
Yeah.
I don't even remember who the other choice was right now.
But yeah, lots of different sellers on Tinder use the ones that you've mentioned, and sometimes people say that they're terrible, and sometimes people say that they're wonderful. So it's kind of
yeah, I've had my one time buying an assembled PCB. I've been quite happy. So I don't know. Maybe there'll be maybe things will change. I don't know. So.
Yeah, and we're fixing to have Kenny's problem where you have to wonder, am I going to spend enough money to buy a car and nobody's going to buy anything?
Yeah.
That's not a big, like not a Tesla Model S or something. It's not that.
No.
But
I used
even so, yeah, a reasonable used car is what I've been
like
imagining.
a 2005 Acura or something. Something.
You're right.
Is that what you're driving, Jeremy?
But yeah, so frozen up. Hopefully that's
I can hear you still, Jeremy, but I don't see your video moving.
okay.
You're
is
moving
everything-
again.
Okay, good. I saw everybody froze up, and I'm like, I guess that's probably me. Yeah. So Kenny, you've been. I mean, that's really awesome. Your investment paid off like that. That's really cool that you were able to take that leap and just figure out who all to communicate with. And did you get like a small sample batch before you got 1,000, or did you just go all in and
Yeah, so to start off, they sent just one little puck to play with, and they had it all sealed up, that first one, the samples they sent me. So I couldn't really easily get to the pins to flash my firmware on there to really test it well. But I just used either a plug I could find that I was able to 2U convert, or just the ESP development board. Make sure I have the pins mapped correctly and everything. And then when they test the product while they're making it, you send them a process to make, for quality control, to make sure you didn't really mess something up and have a lot of lemons on your hands.
have you had many returns? Anybody unhappy with your product, or
Not
out of 1,000,
entirely.
certainly. No.
Well, yeah, there absolutely is some, and I'm not entirely sure what to chalk it up to. I mean, partially, I don't think Tasmota has been. I mean, it's not very popular to buy a Tasmota product straight out of the box, so I'm not sure if that might be part of what it is. But sometimes, occasionally, a plug, somebody will have it, it won't show up when they open their Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi thing on their phone, the plug doesn't show up as an access point, or that's the main issue that occurs occasionally, but it's not too terribly common.
Well,
In that case,
that's excellent.
yeah. In that case, I either find them a replacement or walk them through how to do the reset process.
Well, I've got to confess, I bought 4 of your switches, and they all worked initially, but one of them does not work. But
no.
but the reason for that is I tried to run my laser cutter on it, and then I used the blower on it, and I think yours has a limit of 10 amps, or did. So
It does,
blew that
yes.
out. So that was entirely my fault.
Oh,
But
bummer.
I understand your new product has what, a 15 amp limit? Is that the
The
one?
new one's going to be 15 amps. Yeah. So
I'm excited about this.
Okay. So that'll
Are
be
you
cool.
replacing these? Are they all going to be the 15 amp, or
yes, I don't. I find that the new model is far improved. I don't see a reason to keep producing the
Awesome.
puck version. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about. I like the look of the puck version, but I understand. 50% more power. How can you really argue with that? So
yeah, more power monitoring, and then
oh,
in just the
power
normal two
monitoring too.
outlet
That's
design.
I'm extra excited about the power monitoring. I'm really excited about the 15 amps. I used to automate my espresso machine with an old plug like this, and it
Nice.
used to just randomly turn off. And I think it's because it was tripping something in here. These are supposed to be 12 or 13 amps, and that should be just enough. But I bet it's really only just barely enough. I'm excited
Yeah,
to
like-
automate that again.
Yeah, I
there's
bet.
I'm trying to remember what product you get them. And it's like, well, they say it's the laser tubes, Pat. Because it's like they say it's a
Oh!
60-watt laser, but really it's a 50-watt. But if you
Maybe.
maybe so it's kind of like not a yeah not the cloud free of course, but other smart switches they say like 8 amps and they're really like, well, maybe like 4.5. It's if we're lucky. So,
Being extra conservative with the power consumption, the load.
but no, I definitely blew it out. I didn't know quite how much power that fan was gonna pull out, but it was pretty powerful.
I
So,
bet they use a lot right when you switch them on. I bet it's a huge, like when you turn your AC on, the AC compressor kicks on, and it's a lot of house battery. We've had a lot of power outages here in Texas, so we've been talking about batteries and solar and stuff. And a lot of the battery backup systems just cannot start your AC compressor.
well,
You need
I
like
guess
2 Tesla power walls minimum to start an AC compressor.
I guess that's the thing too. If you have a power outage, I mean, I guess it wouldn't work if you don't have power. But if the internet's out, you could still use a two converted thing or a cloud free switch, which is awesome. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised nobody's tried to do this before. It just seems like I guess everybody has in their head like, well, we need to. It's like we need to like own the data. We got to own the data, and that's just like, I don't know if that's just so prevalent that they just can't think past that. But I mean, as you've seen, people want something like what you're putting out there. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
it really baffles me that none of the major manufacturers have decided that local API access is an important thing. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I understand that most consumers just want to be able to buy it off the shelf at Walmart and plug it in, set it up on their little app, and a lot of people are happy with that. But so many of us really aren't. We want that local control. We want things of that
Yeah.
nature to be able to plug it in and automate it with things of other brands. I don't know.
And we don't want things to change, honestly,
Yes,
too. My friend
for
Brian
sure.
was complaining about I know you sell some of the Sonoff switches with Tasmota loaded, I think, in your store, don't you? And
Yeah.
he had a whole bunch of Sonoff stuff. And then one day they changed. They said, "Oh, you're going to have to start paying a subscription fee to keep using their connectivity." And then the next week, if this then that, started saying, "Well, now you have to pay us if you want to automate things." So then Brian was going to have to pay on both ends.
If you want to automate things, then the thing you have to do is pay us, right? If this
Yeah, and you have to pay
then pay us.
both ends. He got really mad, and
Yeah.
rightly so.
Yeah, I don't blame him. The S31s we sell are made for people. We do sell some stock ones that people can flash themselves, or we're willing to open them up and attach the pins and get those flashed so that no one has to deal with that.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate what you're doing. I guess the thing too is, you say, oh, well, most people do want to go to Walmart, get their thing, open up the app, do the thing. But, the intersection between people who are going to do that are pretty technical people, or at least interested in technology. So I think there's much more than the general population is going to want to do, take control themselves. I'd have to guess, but.
I'm Googling for Tasmota stuff on Tindy.
Oh yeah, that's right. You could got Jasmine here. You could put your stuff on Tindy. Although you're having no problem selling it, apparently. How long did it take you to sell out those 1,000 units that you bought?
Well, so I got the order in late August, and it started off kind of slow. I was able to get a deal where I was able to advertise on the self-hosted podcast from Jupiter Broadcasting. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh,
They do a lot
awesome.
of technically oriented self-hosting control things, and so that really helped pick things up. And then by early December, everything was gone. So
Nice. Well, that's
yeah,
got to be a great feeling.
Yeah.
I I remember poking around on Tasmoda, like their website. I was like, oh, when am I going to find something that doesn't require me to deal with this deal? And all of a sudden, oh, cloud free. That's what I want, and worked out really well. So thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very much
I
appreciated.
I appreciate all the support, and I love the community. Um, can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to ask what you're planning next, or is it a
Yeah, sure.
secret?
No, no, not a secret. So once we get the biggest, right now we don't have any cloud-free plugs in stock. So when I first placed the order back last summer, the testing process that I had sent to them wasn't exactly what they were used to. It was kind of long and it required, I wasn't super in tune with what Tuya's testing process involved or how quick it was. So what I developed wasn't all that efficient. And so this last time that I decided, I needed to order more, they kind of came back to me and said, you really need to work on this testing process. And between school and Chinese New Year delayed for quite a while, I ran out of smart plugs in early December and I still don't have any. It's been super frustrating. But I got word this morning that they like the new testing process and the firmware, and so they're going to start bulk production here real soon. So it shouldn't be too much longer.
This is
All right.
exciting.
No,
Absolutely.
that's awesome. So
And
you're
then,
go ahead.
yeah, so after this, my next focus is going to be smart plugs for other standards for other countries. That's been a huge request because not everyone lives in the US and Canada, obviously. So I have to branch out there. The biggest kicker there, though, is that if I buy it from China and import it to the United States, the US tax on the 25% tariff. And so that's a huge hit on margins to do that and then try to ship it out to its respective country. So I'm working on I will be working on this summer. I'm taking some time off of the job I normally work to work on my little project. And so hopefully I can find some people who are willing to ship things out in their respective countries to avoid that extra fee.
Yeah, distributors in other countries.
Exactly,
What
yeah.
you're looking
Yeah,
for.
that's something I've never really looked into. So what happens? You ship it to them, and basically they're in charge of basically shipping it from there, right? So it's kind of cuts out another step on your end.
Yeah,
Is that
it
how
cuts out the extra shipping it would take to get it to where it needs to go and the big tariff that the government tax on. So,
Jeremy, I saw you've shipped one of your Tindy products to the UK. And and Tindy is always telling me, "Oh, somebody wants to order from." I've got a list of countries, and I'm terrified to do it. I've sent some stuff to Europe a few times, and the forms I've had to fill out, and how much it costs, and worrying about it getting there. I'm. It seems like it's terrifying. I don't.
yeah, well, I guess
Yeah, Kenny,
you know,
you've started shipping worldwide using USPS. What's the
yeah.
international? What's your failure rate, or not your failure rate, but the failure rate of the packages once you
Failure rate, so I've never had a
international
package.
shipping?
I've never had a package that didn't get to where it was going yet.
Eventually?
And well, that's just it. There's especially Black Friday, from Black Friday to Christmas last year was absolutely awful for the Postal Service. I mean, things would just it would say arrived at such and such distribution center, and it would sit there for days, a week or two, and people are frustrated, and I'm frustrated, and we can't call anybody to really figure out what's going on. It was not ideal. I do ship internationally quite a bit, and through there's a distributed or a shipping retailer, Pirate Ship, and you're able to find really cheap
That's the
international
best name I've
shipping.
ever heard.
It is pretty
My
great.
goodness.
Absolutely. They've got really cheap international rates, cheaper than what the post office is able to get you
Yeah.
through some partners, which has been tremendous for being able to ship international. And within a week or two, it gets to where it needs to go.
That's great.
Nice. Was it like this guy just kind of, well, we just, approach people at the airports. Oh, can you put this, your, usually that's how locked up abroad starts. But I guess in this case it's electronics.
I don't
I'm
think
not going
it's
to tell you which company this is because I don't want to get them in trouble. But I talked to a manufacturer once that in Canada that said they're near the border. So if thing to me, they drive across the border and put it in a mailbox. Yeah, they
Are
do that
you-
once a week or something.
Are you close to
It's-
the
it's
Canadian
not
border?
They're not supposed to do this. That's why I'm not telling you who they are. But so don't you do it.
I don't plan on it, but I don't blame them. I mean, even just to
Yeah.
ship to Canada, just north of Michigan. I'm here in Indiana. It takes a week and a half to get through the customs is what takes the longest. Even though
Yep.
I don't know exactly what they're charging imports to Canada, but I can't imagine they're making a ton to delay it a week. I don't know. It's not ideal.
No.
Yeah, I guess in my case, there's like a private postal, not private. It's not a post office. It whatever. I don't know what you call it, but it's called the mail room, and the guy I give it to him, and he sends it, and that's
Oh,
know.
good. You didn't have to fill out any of when I shipped a couple of these Uber Lights boards to Germany. They ask you what is it? I don't know what categories. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
boy.
Germany
It's
has special rules. It wants also the invoice stuck to the outside. So that
oh
they can-
jinkies. I hope
so
I did
They
that.
they can check what the value is and what the item is.
Yep.
I sent something to our old host Max Maker. I sent something to him for Christmas, I guess 2 years ago, and man,
Max is in Germany.
yeah, Max is in Germany, and anyway, it was, I was happy to. It was like a little notebook, and I then embossed it with something I printed. It was pretty cool, but it cost me so much to send it, and then apparently we got to Germany. He had to go to the post office, and they opened it up and they said, "Oh, this has no value. You don't have to pay taxes on it." I was like, "Oh, that's a little bit insulting," but that's what he tells me. So, but he said it had lots of value to him. So props to Max, of course.
That's very sweet.
That's nice.
of him.
Yeah, international shipping, that's quite the ordeal. And I guess the thing too, on Jasmine, I think, so you go to the post office, it's one rate, and then I'll go to the mailroom and it's another rate. And, it's like, well, what am I really supposed to be? It's just hard to determine how much to charge. It's like sometimes you make money on postage, sometimes you lose money on postage, and sometimes, you
Yeah.
just hope
And
it
the
gets there
post
in one
office
piece.
never tells you when their rates are going to go up.
No.
You find out, a week later when you've undercharged somebody by 50 cents. I mean, it's not a big. I'm not saying it's a big deal, but it's like,
Sometimes
oh,
it is.
geez, why doesn't that match?
Yeah, sometimes it is. I think there was a rate hike they did in a couple of years ago in January, and it went up by quite a lot, especially for larger orders. And people were like, "We don't want to send," or sellers were like, "We don't want to send this without being able to recoup the costs." And things. We definitely do want to have a shipping quote engine on Tindy, which will definitely roll out for US sellers first. But then it's dealing with it's dealing with each country individually. There's
Yep.
not really a blanket company that does
Yeah.
shipping. So
I would love if I could pay you
It's-
guys to do the hard work for me, and I just have to print the label, put it on the box, and
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, we could try and integrate with like FedEx or UPS, but then those rates tend to be fairly too high for a lot of Tindy sellers. So
yep. And the post office picks things up at my house for free. I'm a big fan of that.
yeah, that's
no,
amazing. Coming from
always
the
good.
UK and coming to the US, I didn't realize that that was a service that you could do here. In the
Yep.
UK, that doesn't really happen.
Interesting.
Really?
How do you sell things? How do you send things in the UK? Do you have to go to the actual post office to
Yeah, post box, post office. Well,
post
things
box?
may have changed since I moved, but I've always had to go to the post office. So
Yeah, I guess you live in California now. You've been here for several years now, I guess, right? You're,
8 years,
8 years. Nice.
quite a long time.
So
But yeah, being able to do online shipping, like postage and printing, is really useful. I think with Pirate Ship, one of the things is that they tend to only do the priority mail a lot of the time. I don't know if they do for individual customers. I don't know if they do it for first class international. But I don't know. Maybe Kenny has a better idea. I don't know.
I'm not sure what you're
Um,
what you're saying.
So with Pirate Ship printing the paying for and printing the postage, they when I looked last time for international postage, it would only do the priority mail rates.
Oh, no, they've changed things since then, if that was the case.
Okay.
They've
Okay.
actually got a service now where, because the Postal Service hiked their international rates, and so Pirate Ship was able to find a way for you. They print you a domestic label to send it to a sorting center, and then they have Ascendia, which I think is related to the Swiss post office or something. They have them ship it international, and they're able to knock quite a bit off the shipping costs that way.
Wow.
This
Yeah,
is-
That's
this is in America?
fascinating.
I'm gonna
But
look
yeah,
into
I guess
yeah.
it's
So I'm able to
hard
get
to
things to
America.
Europe
Oh,
for $10 if it's super light.
Really?
That's fantastic. I already punched in over in my browser here to look at when we're done.
It's
Interesting.
definitely
it's
handy.
interesting it's interesting the intricacies of the post office. I mean, even DHL. I was talking to Max Maker again. Apparently DHL was the German postal service at some point, and then they became some sort of private international shipper. And I didn't quite. I'll be honest. I didn't quite. Didn't quite make sense to me because I just don't see. I could just imagine the U.S. Postal Service doing that. That wouldn't really happen. But I guess.
I think they were trying to do that.
Oh,
Fairly
were they?
recently. We're trying to privatize. I mean, it's what happens when national post services get privatized, or parts of them do. So
I mean, DHL. I've been happy with them, but I guess I don't know. It's
How do you do your shipping in general for Tindy?
me.
For-
Or-
Yeah, you, Jeremy. I was trying to remember your name. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
It's written right here, and I know your name.
No, I guess usually USPS. I'm happy with DHL when they send me stuff from China. Not I've never
Gotcha.
used them myself. But yeah, usually I take it to the guy in the mailroom and he somehow is able to send it. So,
I ship everything priority mail because I did math on how much it would cost me to buy packaging, and then, tracking and shipping on top of that. I was like, well, it's only $1 more to do priority mail, and they give me the box. It didn't make any sense at my very small volume that I'm at. I don't ship much stuff out.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
priority mail makes if it's close to it, it makes sense just because of the included tracking. It's just so much more reliable, and then if it goes missing, you have some recourse. It's the best
Yep.
way.
Unless you're like me and the only package that somebody tells you went missing, you forget to file a claim on it.
Ooh.
You just send another one out and you forget about it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. But I felt dumb when I remembered it 3 months later. I'm like, oh, I could have got that money back.
Well, I guess I don't know what to say. You're really the killer CEO of your corporation.
I know, right? I'm fantastic.
You told me one time you have an LLC, but you're not quite sure what's going on with it.
Oh,
Is
it's
that
got to be
true?
gone by now. It must have dissolved itself by now, right? 10 or 15 years later, it feels like it can't be that many years.
I don't know. Do LLCs dissolve themselves? I mean,
I don't
maybe
know.
Jasmine,
It has
Kenny,
no.
you
It
guys
owns.
know?
It doesn't own anything.
I think you have to
mean, it
renew them
does-
every few years.
so many years. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years or something.
I guess. Did you open up an LLC for your Cloud-Free? Is that Cloud-Free?
I did
LLC?
eventually, yeah. I
Good.
definitely don't. Yeah, liability is kind of another scary thing. I mean,
Especially
I
when
try
things plug into the wall.
exactly, yeah. I mean, I try to make sure it has, safety certifications and things of that nature. But yeah, LLC was one of the things I did pretty early on to make sure I was covered there.
Nice. And plus, Cloud Free LLC, that kind of rhymes nicely. So, it rolls off your tongue.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, Pat, do you want to go ahead and take a little coffee break, and we'll,
Sure.
talk about.
We don't get to leave for a coffee break though, because this is live.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what we're gonna. Maybe later we'll say it's a coffee break. Well, we should, before we forget about it, at least give a shout out to our Patreons, right?
And I heard you said we have a few more new patrons now.
Oh yeah, it's we do actually. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a little drink of coffee. Or you don't have to. It's just kind of something we say, but So anyway, yeah. So thanks you guys for watching, and thanks for watching. Yeah, we always give a shout out to our top 5 patrons every episode. So this week we've got Miles Steele. Thanks so much for signing up. Alice Lopatka, Raptor, creatively spelled, Stuart Morrow, Positive Waves, and Stephen Booker. That may have been 6 people, but
Was
you
that
know
the
what?
top 5?
Top 5 or 6 might be. How many was that anyway? I don't even know.
It was at least 5 minimum.
At least we give a shout out to at least 5 of our top Patreons, and maybe more. So thank you so much for your support. It's great to know, great that people support us in this, right? And Pat, where do we go if that people want to be a Patreon of the show? Because
it's forget. And I remember now. It's Patreon. Patreon.com/The Creativity Podcast with the in the front there.
That's right. Cool. Well,
we'll put
get
that
you
on screen somehow.
Yeah, we'll get you back to your show, and we'll act like we're rolling the music or whatever. We'll probably put that in later. I guess so. Yeah. So what? I'm trying to think what we want to talk about now. Would you anything else you guys want to talk about, Jasmine, Kenny? We've gone over a lot of business stuff, which is cool.
I'm excited that I learned about the pirate ship.
Yeah, that was going to save you time and money.
This is fantastic.
Yeah. So actually, Kenny, I was wondering about you though. You were if you're taking Calc 3 at this point, you're most likely a sophomore, right?
Yeah.
So you got 2.5 more years of school. So then at that point you're gonna be pretty much have your own business, like ready to go, right? That'd be awesome.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Nice. No,
I hope so.
I'm jealous. I had to get a normal job like everybody else. So, that's really cool.
Did you tell us what you're in school for, Kenny?
Computer engineering.
Okay. I understand that.
Yeah, makes sense. And Pat, you worked in you're a programmer by trade, right, Pat? Or...
No, I'm a terrible programmer. I can get by,
Okay,
but I'm awful at it. I'm awful at getting specs. I'm awful at writing code. I'm slow. I should not write code professionally.
So yeah, Kenny, when you get out, you can hire Pat as your code man.
Hire me to write code.
What do you do? What do you do that's not code?
Oh well, in the old days, I used to be like a network server type guy, but I pretend to be retired now, and I have a podcast apparently now, which is exciting. And I have a blog, and I sell a few things on Tindy every now and then. That's exciting.
Yeah. That's we debated what Pat's the either if he wants to sound important, he'll say that he's the head of the house, or if not so important, he'd say he's the house man, right? Or maybe that isn't. Is house man important title? Or
I don't know. I don't even know what he does. I don't know if we have one of those.
I thought, well, we can't cut this since it's live, I guess. So
it's true. Well, we can cut it later if we publish it as something. But you're right.
Yeah, I guess maybe I guess we were just talking a little bit of housekeeping. We've been drizzling out an episode little by little because we just thought it was a little bit
trickling is probably the word you're looking for there.
Trickling.
That's probably a
incrementally. That's not even a word. Yeah, and I'm a professional writer, Kenny, so I'm pretty good with words. Yeah. So anyway, we've been kind of letting that one out little by little because we just thought it was kind of even though we sent it to our Patreons. In fact, you can access it. We probably
The
put some links
previous
up.
live stream you're talking about, Jeremy.
Well, the previous one it was just
And just us as well.
Yeah,
too.
just us as well. So, that's something we've been kind of experimenting with it, trying to, put out some, clips, but we'll probably
Yep.
still put out the full episode for the most part on SoundCloud at least.
YouTube likes 5 and 10 and maybe 15-minute episodes, but when you're in your car and you can't change the channel, we like the hour-long podcast, so you're forced to listen to us.
Right.
For
When
60
you're
minutes.
trapped and you can't, when you're out of download range for whatever, you're not gonna pay for that extra gigabyte of data when you can just listen to the rest of us going on about whatever. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, Pat, did you want to go into some other stuff we had kind of
We can. Do you,
Timeline?
I'm trying to make sure on our list we don't have anything missing from our Tindy and home automation conversation.
yeah.
Kenny, do you want to see the home automation thing that I'm working on?
Absolutely.
week?
I'm always interested in anything
This
like
is
that.
fantastic. You need to sell these. Do you know what this is?
No, I can't say that I do.
This is an airbag seat sensor for a car. They're about $8 on eBay,
Oh,
and I've
really?
got
Is
I don't
it-
have
is
it
it-
plugged in right
Does it
now.
say Takata? Does it say Takata on it?
I don't know who. No,
Because you paid too much.
it says 3M all over the tape on the back, though.
Oh, okay.
But I'm making a sensor for my chair over here, so I know if I'm sitting down. I have this plugged into a Wemo or a Node MCU board with Tasmota loaded on it, and I've gotten distracted. I'm redoing all my home automation. I didn't do any of it in this new house since we moved in. But I just set up Home Assistant again. I started plugging your plugs in. I've got Tasmota working on here. It sees when I sit. Well, I haven't actually sat down. I just pushed the buttons on it. Tasmota sees it, but I haven't figured out how to get it into Home Assistant yet. I've got something configured wrong in the custom device stuff in Tasmota. But I just want
Okay.
this light to stop shutting off when I'm reading a book in the chair. And then
Is
it
it
just
a
goes dark and I have to
motion
look
light?
around. No, it used in my apartment that we used to live in my office. This light was automated, and when it didn't detect I was in my office, I did my presence detection by if nobody's on my computer, if the TV's not running, I must not be in here.
Okay.
But that only covers 2 out of the 3 things I might do in my office, right? So now I'm going to have a butt sensor is the plan.
That
Nice.
sounds great. Is it just capacitive? Like it
I think they're just membrane. These are little puffy membrane switches, but they're like the dome switches, but they're not very domed. I don't think.
okay.
But I don't. Just judging by I'm assuming it's conductive. Yeah, there's black lines and silver lines, and some of them seem to go. I have to assume it's just making connection.
Interesting.
Boy, we might have to test this a little more. Yeah, because I don't think it'd be capacitive because this goes under the fabric in the car, so I'm not sure you would conduct any.
But is there 2 layers maybe? Like a layer of metal on the outside on
Yeah,
both
there's-
sides and then something separating it in the middle?
There must be. I haven't.
Okay.
I'm afraid to cut one of these apart because I only have one so far. To find
That's
out.
fair. I made a bed detection sensor. I found a
Ooh.
tutorial online. And they made it super easy. You take 2 sheets of tin or aluminum foil, stick a
Yeah.
sheet of paper in the middle of it, and it acts as a capacitive sensor, and it's able to detect
Oh.
whether you're
Oh.
in the bed or not.
And it's
you-
capacitive.
Wire both of the sheets of aluminum foil to an ESP32 because it has special capabilities for capacitive touch. And I flash ESP Home on it, and all of a sudden it's in Home Assistant and knows whether I'm trying to get some sleep or not.
I'm gonna have to find out if these are capacitive. Yeah. Well,
So what does that do? Does that turn off your light, or what is?
Yeah, I had it to where as soon as I lay down in bed, the lights turn off everywhere, and yeah, that's all I had it doing right now. I'm sure there's always something more to be added, right?
Oh,
of course. Well, that's
absolutely.
how I need to turn my espresso machine back on, is when I wake up.
There you go.
But the trouble is, I wake up before I get out of bed. Right? I don't actually. Yeah, I don't spring into action
Yeah, I don't know that
immediately in the
anyone that
morning,
does.
and it needs a half hour to warm up to be ready to go. I don't-
Usually I wake up and somebody's asking me for for breakfast or something like that. you know, but
How do I
that's
invite
okay.
you to my house, Jeremy? Because so I can ask you for breakfast. Nobody makes me breakfast.
Well, I
Jeremy as a service.
Jeremy is a service.
Would-
Yeah,
Jazz.
usually, yeah, usually, the kids want breakfast, and then dog wants breakfast, and then I got to go to work at some point, so I can buy the breakfast at some point too. So
It's important.
um, but yeah, I don't know where we were going with that, but oh yes,
Butt
so
sensors.
yeah, well that's cool though. So I guess that's your bed in back of you. So that's actually got a. I guess that's your bed. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a
this
little
is
slow. I'm a little slow too, Kenny. I was wondering where he was talking about behind me here.
This is
So,
Yeah.
a lofted bed. It's actually an old lofted bed that I guess my aunt had. We had to go up in my grandma and grandpa's uh, barn shed up in a loft, and there was just all these boards laying in a pile with layers of dust on top. And so we took them home and wiped them down and sanded it and painted it, and it ended up not looking too bad for being 40 years old or 30 years old or whatever it is.
What?
I
So
hope
what?
I
what
don't
it-
look too bad for being 40 something years old.
No.
Yeah, you look great. You look like an alternative universe Eminem. I've heard people say. I,
You need to explain this to me someday, Jeremy, or I need to Google it.
I don't know. I just thought I don't know. The glasses kind of like when Eminem got older. You see him. I don't know. You've heard me make ridiculous rap references once in a while.
I have.
Yeah.
But I've been seeing this meme that Eminem is basically exactly the same now as he was when we first heard of him. He still wears the same hoodie and
He might.
everything. It's the
He might.
he's not upgraded to.
I kind of stopped paying attention about 5 to 10 years ago. So I don't know. I think I'm forever stuck in the early 2000s, late 90s or so.
Me too.
So
Me too.
it is what it is, I guess. So,
It might be our age group.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So yeah, Kenny. Well, that's great. I'm trying to think what else. I guess it's 9:15. Should we? What do you think, Pat?
Should we call it an episode? Is what
No,
you're saying?
we didn't really. We planned so much content and like how to talk and stuff. I guess we didn't like plan for having a really good conversation about
We
one
didn't.
thing.
We assumed we'd be talking to each other for an hour about whatever we could manage to talk about. So this was very exciting.
Oh,
Jasmine
yeah,
and Kenny.
absolutely. I mean, yeah,
And
I feel
all
like
the,
I
doggy
feel like you're the
disturbances.
the perfect guests to come on together because it's just like, well, you're both doing kind of the same sort of thing, having the same problems. Well, Jasmine's not having the same problems as me, but Kenny's having the same problems as me at this point.
I
And
empathize with you.
thank you. Jasmine knows what's going on. I mean, you see, I mean, you see a lot of people. I mean, how many on Tindy? How many people are there that sell on Tindy?
I think active sellers in the last few months has been like about 700.
Wow.
It's
That's
not.
awesome.
I mean, it's still small compared to other marketplaces and platforms, but it's definitely been growing. And the fact that when I first started working on Tindy a few years ago, like you'd see like the top 10 sellers just selling like one or two things a day, or maybe you wouldn't see them every day. But now you'll see like sellers go through things and they'll be selling like 4 or 5 or like 10, and then sometimes there'll be sellers that bring something online and it'll just go like skyrocket for a day or so, when it's like back in stock. But just seeing how many different things there are sold on Tindy, and the frequency at which people improve on their designs as well, especially when they start, and seeing sellers going from their first product and working out, like, quite often a lot of our sellers, their engineering is really good, but they haven't necessarily sold online before, and that is a learning curve, like the taking good pictures, writing up a good
No
description,
doubt.
having any kind of documentation, packaging, and then shipping, and actually getting it there, and then dealing with problems if there are any. These are all things that can be a bit of a learning curve and can put people off.
Yep.
But generally, the community is very supportive, and people buying things are, in general, they understand that things go wrong. Not always, but most of the time. So,
Yeah, I've been quite happy with it. I mean, I guess I don't know. I always feel like I'm a little bit biased since I'm, in some ways employed by Tindy, but it's like I really like their service too. So it's very easy to talk highly about Tindy when I guess I have to.
I'm
So,
really happy Tindy is out there. I'm so happy that it exists and that it's a place to look for things I might need. It's fantastic.
the number of people that go to our newest products page every day is quite a lot of people just like refresh.
I didn't even know I could do that.
Yeah.
You check
Yeah, I
that
just
out.
wait for things to show up on Twitter when somebody tells me about something cool that they've found.
I think you can also type in tindy.com/random, and you might get a random product that's not sold on Tindy, which is not necessarily, but it's like to try and help highlight
nice.
products.
Oh my goodness, it gave me something relevant. It's
Really?
a lap timer for FPV drone racing. Holy
Wow.
potatoes.
Well,
I
I guess
that was the random. I can't believe that.
I guess Tindy's tracking you just like Google and everybody else, right? So
They must be. It's-
except for Cloud Free, that's the only people that don't track you these days. It's
Yeah, we have
Unless-
some analytics on the site, but that's about it.
Yeah.
yeah, or maybe it's like a really long con, and he's just tricking people into thinking that he's not tracking them, and he knows what time you leave in the morning or.
Jasmine, there's a problem with your random product generator.
Is it?
Yeah, I can't share the link because it's just tindy.com/random, and I can't click back on like the title or something here to get it to
Well,
the.
I mean, it was more of a fun project, but
I completely understand, but I have to get a link to this now. There we go. I have it.
You found it.
I did. I went to hit the guy's product page, and he has only 5 things, so it was easy to find it.
Yeah, we were talking about. Oh yeah, we did put the show me another button on it, but yeah, we definitely should put share on there.
Yeah, I could share it to Facebook or a tweet or something, but I couldn't get it to. I just needed a link. But it's fantastic. I'm excited. I can't believe it showed me a thing I might want.
I was at the dentist the other day, and she's like, "Oh, you want me to give you a card? You want to put it in your phone?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, give me a card, but I'll put it in my phone." I opened up my phone, and we've been talking about being at 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden it says it has 10 o'clock highlighted, and I was like, "That's a little random." Although I suppose the appointment was at 10 o'clock the time before, so maybe
Oh, it's just predicting from the previous appointment.
maybe not.
Maybe.
I guess we'll see.
Maybe
See
she's
what
listening
happens.
to you.
Whatever. Well, Pat, you want to go ahead and call it an episode? Do you think it's a good time?
I think we could call this an episode. I think we've done a good job.
Yeah,
Way better job than I expected. We have no idea how to do a live stream. You guys, this is
Yeah. This is our second on this platform, or the first on this platform, second ever. First one went pretty well, all things considered, but this is a new one for us. So
yep. I've been really happy with this Riverside.fm thing.
yeah,
It
But-
seems to work pretty well.
It does,
Yeah.
and it uploads. You guys have. There's a nice video of all of you guys being uploaded as we're speaking, which is
yeah.
fantastic.
Our only little potential problem is Matt. I keep calling him Matt. Pat said that my levels didn't look as high as he'd like. So hopefully my recording is good.
I think we'll be able to turn you up if we have to, Jeremy. I'm not worried.
Okay, that's
You can
good.
have up to 22 people on here.
Yeah,
Pardon?
it's like a. She said up to 22 people. She said.
Is it 22? Oh, I thought it was only 8. But
Well, it says 4 out of 22 at the top, so
oh no, that's the date.
That's-
We were supposed to record this on the 22nd. Yep.
I'm
Yep.
still thinking in UK format, and I've been here for
Right.
so long.
Right.
Yeah, I
But
think you can have 8
Oh,
people
yeah.
and some screen shares.
Okay. That makes
Screen-
more sense.
screen shares. So that's like the. If you're not quite good enough, you're like, well, you're kind of the. You're
Well, I
invited
think
to the
all
party.
of us can share a screen. We don't have to hide. You don't have to do one or the other. You could do both at the.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep. And we end
But
up with a nice high quality video of every screen share of all of us, separate videos, so we can mix this together. I'm really excited about it. I don't mean to geek out about the boring behind the scenes part here.
Sure. Hey, have you been checking the comments on YouTube, by the way, Pat? I guess.
I was, but
'cause I
then you know
haven't.
what I did? I stopped because we went to look for pirate ship.
Because we may if we're ignoring you, we're not trying
Oh, good.
to. But
It's all people I know that have said something, and none of it is
That-
something we had to immediately respond to. So,
all people that used to be your friends.
yeah, no more. No more.
Well, yeah. Well, thanks, Jasmine. Thanks so much for coming on. Same, Kenny. Thanks so much for
for
coming on. It
inviting
was a pleasure.
Thanks for
Pleasure to
having
talk
me.
to you, Jasmine. Pleasure to meet you, Kenny. That's great. So, and you too,
Yeah.
You
Pat,
guys
of
are
course.
both doing a good job.
You
I'm
doing a
looking
good
Well,
job.
forward
thanks.
to Cloud Free being in stock.
What's that?
I'm looking forward to the plug being in stock.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. Hopefully it won't be but a few more weeks.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
I've had to turn my laser on by hand like a caveman. So
Oh.
Yeah. Is 15 amps going to be enough for your laser, Jeremy?
it's
We'll
fine
find
for the-
out.
we'll find out next time on the Creativity Podcast.
I know most things are just on a 15 amp fuse. So if you're burning the 15 amp plug, you're probably
Yeah.
have some other problems on your hands too.
Maybe so. I've been meaning to buy one of your outdoor plugs too, because my fountain, I had that hooked up to a Sonoff switch, which I had like in some shrink wrap, and I thought I did it. I thought I did a really clever job with it, because I looped it over and stuff, and then all of a sudden the GFCI circuit's flipping. I take it
Ah.
apart, and there's all this condensation inside, and so that's not really what you want.
No,
I
it's
don't
not
think.
No.
not great. We've got some outdoor lights at home, some string lights down by a fire pit area, and so it's really nice to be able to automate that, have it turn on before dark and turn off a little
Yep.
later, 11 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah, that is nice. I keep thinking like, my neighbors have outdoor lights, and lights are fine, but sometimes I like it to be a little darker. I could trick them and like here's some new lights from some new cloud free lights that you could install and not tell them what's going on, and all of a sudden
And you
I'm
can turn
logged
them
on.
off, and you won't
Have
even
some-
have to use a BB gun anymore.
Yeah, anymore exactly.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy living. That's another thing. I live 10 miles outside of the nearest town, essentially, big town. And so you mentioned post office picking up before. If I didn't have that, I would be hosed. I mean, them being able to come and pick up all the orders out of the mailbox is huge for me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I live, like 2 miles from the mailroom, so I can't make it there, and
Kenny, I'd be less mad if I was you if I had to go to the post office, because when I need to go ship something out, I have one little box to ship. But you've probably got, let's at least say, a handful of boxes.
A
to
couple
go out, right?
envelopes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, not just one a week or month or something.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, does the postman or postwoman or do they get annoyed at having to pick up so many packages from you, Kenny? Or
Not
guess
that
you don't
I'm
know.
aware. I mean, our driveway's blocks, so it's not like we really interact all that much. But I haven't. There's no complaint note left in the mailbox, so I think we're good.
They
okay,
haven't sent you like one of those like baskets, those like tote
Yeah.
boxes.
Right? Yeah. No, we haven't gotten to that level yet. But who knows? Maybe
Fingers
I'll end up
crossed.
needing one of those.
Yeah,
yeah, I hope so.
that would be fantastic.
How many are you going to order for the next one? Or if you
Just
if you're
start with
comfortable saying-
1,000 and see where it goes. If I get, if the stock level gets low enough that I think it warrants another order, I'll be sure to have that ordered so we're not out of stock ever, hopefully. Trying to time that number, it can be tough. Because before
Yeah.
Black Friday was just, I didn't have a sale or anything, but all of a sudden the website just got hit like crazy and I lost a lot of stock unexpectedly. This was this would have been Thanksgiving break last year. And so I wasn't really prepared to place another order even. And that also kind of led to the delay that's happened, unfortunately.
Yep. I'm amazed at how new these are. I didn't realize that these might be from the first batch for all
The
early
only
in the
batch.
first batch. Yeah, the only but like right away after you got this, I'm amazed.
Yeah,
I figured you've been doing this for a lot longer than I knew about them.
You're an early adopter, I guess.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, Pat, you shouldn't have opened those. You should have just put them. You should like, oh,
Well, I
I've
can
got,
put it.
I've got an unopened first batch of cloud free.
A
Free deal.
I don't
collector's
think they're
item.
sealed. I could put it back in here. It'd be
No one would ever know.
No,
Yeah,
I
nobody's
won't tell
watching.
them.
We'll cut this part out. They don't even know.
Oh yeah, this is already live. Oh
Yeah, but I guess that's guess you'll have to make your fame and fortune some other way.
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I guess hey, if you're still listening, thanks so much for listening, and you can get back to your
Yeah. Oh,
back to your drive.
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you're doing a bad job. If you
Okay.
enjoyed listening today, you should subscribe to our channel or something. And
Right.
there's a like button down there somewhere. And I'll leave links to whatever we've been talking about in the description
Right.
as
Right.
soon as
So
I get a chance to.
absolutely subscribe. Hit us up on Patreon. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. Tell us why we're wrong.
Also, oh yeah,
That's important.
complaints at jeremyscook.com. We're still not sure if that is a legitimate email address, but as we like to say, whether it is or not, it's doing its job. So, and if you
But
have
usually
something good
we
to
ask
say,
our guests where they can be found, but we know where you guys can be found. We'll put that right into we'll put links. It'll be fine.
yeah.
Excellent,
What is does Cloud Free? I assume it's a website, right? It's
Cloudfree.shop. Yep.
.shop. Okay,
And then on Twitter at CloudFreeShop as well.
Cloud Free Shop and Jasmine, I guess Tindy.com is your
Yeah.
domain, and so
Yeah, should
Yeah.
you be plugging anything personal? Like, do you want like Instagram or something? Should we come and see your crazy whatever you have on Instagram? I don't know.
Not my personal Instagram, but
No.
I haven't updated it for a while. It's like the last picture I think is from my work Christmas party from 2 years ago.
Not this Christmas.
you're
No.
Previous Christmas.
you're having a good time then, I guess. Hopefully.
Yeah, with Sophie Kravitz.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, and Pat, we can find you where at the head at patshead. No, that's your
Yeah,
email.
I'm at patshead.com. It doesn't have my spinning head anymore like Twitter. I've never worked that into the new blog layout at all. I'm a little bummed out about that. Maybe next time. I'm due for a revamp of everything.
Yeah, aren't we all? I guess so. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube. Just look up Jeremy Cook, or my website's jeremyscook.com. So that's because some other Jeremy Cook out there has jeremycook.com. So he'd probably appreciate your business too, though, or traffic, whatever he does. So anyway, thanks so much for watching or listening, and we will talk to you guys next time.
We will.
Yeah.
take care.
Have a good one.
All right.
I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
hit this. Oh, I'm not supposed to say I'm going to hit the stop recording button.
Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't know if is that going to kick
And-
them out or
What?
maybe.
No, it
Oh.
just stops the live. We're just stopping the live stream. Is all. It doesn't.
Oh,